guys, I want to show you the strip, the east side of the strip, from the very bottom to the very top, as you guys requested. We're turning, and this is the east side. So what you see, Luxor, is on the west. Okay, now the first main resort of this area, which is South Strip, you can see by the way stops, bus stops, where the Deuce stops, and we talk about that on top-buffet.com. You can see basically the main resort is going to be Tropicana. And Tropicana, as we have reviewed, is a lovely resort now that they've actually remodeled, with a couple of problems, so to speak, but usually it's very good. Now, the other side of the strip, I'll show it to you, of course, on a different video, just at the end of this video, but the problem with South Strip, as you might have already gathered, is that it's kind of detached from the, you feel you're detached from the main strip, even if it's not at all. I mean, it's a walk. But as we drive, I'll show you what I mean. Anyway, so as you can see, these are the stops where you can get on the Deuce, which is a very good bus that stops pretty much everywhere, or the express bus that stops at much fewer stops on the strip. Tropicana is these days an affordable resort, but not a budget resort. It's been remodeled, so prices are different. And then of course you have, not on the strip anymore, but just slightly attached, say, to Tropicana next door, you've got Hooters. I don't know if you can make it out. And then of course MGM Grand with the famous Hakkasan advertising right here. And you can see it's like difficult to walk all the way here, from here to the main areas of mid-strip. When you drive, you don't realize how long you have to walk, and what matters is that, are you going to walk a pleasant walk? Now this is okay, this section here, it's still South Strip, and you're gonna have, you know, lots of souvenir stores like that one. You got the Adidas store now, and then you have the famous M&M store, the Coca-Cola Center, and yet again another Deuce stop right there. Hello everybody. But and it does feel a lot shorter than it actually is. Now bear in mind, this is June and it's evening. It's about 6:15 in the evening, and this is just about the time when you may venture out. If you are heat sensitive, don't bother walk along long stretches of the strip in the day, because it's going to be too much for you. We do it and we're fit, and it's a challenge. You will want to drink a lot of water, and it's just not really very pleasant when it's really hot, even if it's dry heat. So the distances that you will see by car are nothing compared to what it's going to be like on foot. And then there are all this zigzagging. It's not quite so straightforward. Now, the famous M&M store, and then you've got Coca-Cola there, and now new stores like Marshall's have popped up. The Hard Rock Cafe coming up. And these are significant distances, guys. It's not that simple. So far so good in terms of walking. Between a store and the other, it's not necessarily the most exciting walk on the strip, but it's okay. So in fact, walking on the east side is a little better. But now we're approaching what I call a really unpleasant side. Now it's okay at this time, but at night, I'm not saying it's unsafe, it's perfectly safe, but it's unpleasant. And I do have a video showing you how difficult it is just to get past Planet Hollywood if you are on foot. A separate video though, because I've done it walking. You got Fat Burgers here, of course, the Fat Burger Bar. And then you've got these cheap stores, and by cheap I mean they look cheap, they may not be that cheap. Nothing really exciting. They've been here forever. And yet another Deuce stop. And Polo Towers are there, by the way, in case you are contemplating staying there at Polo Towers. But it really is not the most pleasant of walk. It's just no fun, and it's long. Just to go from MGM, say, to Planet Hollywood, I mean, it could take you half an hour. you know. And when it's really, really hot and there's nothing to see on this side, it's not that exciting. Then you've got here a mix of a bit of everything. You've got shops and karaoke, nothing exciting. And then, of course, some quintessential building or work or improvement or remodeling. Hopefully it's going to get a lot better than it is. And then, of course, all these little stores here again. As I said, it isn't that pleasant to walk. It's like a chore rather than exciting, unless you come here and you want to stop at the Harley Davidson Cafe, as it happens, which is actually a little landmark, at least this one is. And from here, then you're going to start that zigzagging rigmarole of going up the escalators and crossing walkways, which are of course designed to get you inside the resorts, which I find extremely irritating, as you well know, because I don't want to go inside the resorts unless I want to go inside the resorts. What I really would like, and I showed you when I was walking along on the west side, is like walks that are beautiful and pleasant at the same time, the way I walked along Bellagio. So you have this beautiful lake on the other side of the strip, and you walk along and you've got trees and the water and the fountain work and the music, and it's absolutely wonderful. Here on the other hand, you've got to go inside these stores, which are part of Planet Hollywood, and then come down again and then go up the escalator. Yesterday it wasn't even working, so you know, at 3 o'clock in the day, in the afternoon, it's a chore. And then come down again that way, can you see? And then down here, and then it's not really beautiful, is it? Although some of you will find it really exciting, but it is, I feel it's, and then you've got these sections here, which means you can no longer walk really along the strip. You have to go in, and then you come out on the other side and you find yourself back on the strip. And it sounds so simple and it looks so simple, but it actually takes a long, long time. And when you've done that, you have done your daily workout, but it might not be what you want to do. So always wear comfortable shoes if you are planning at all to walk along the strip. Comfortable shoes. So Planet Hollywood is right there, as you might have already seen. This is the main entrance, but there are several, of Planet Hollywood again. Very modern, it's youth oriented. There are a lot of people from all sorts of groups, you know, all types of visitors coming in. It's relatively budget, but during event times it can be quite expensive. And we do have reviews of Planet Hollywood, and I will soon upload a review of the inside of the resort as well, with various amenities. Though I do have videos of the gym and the pool. By the way, it's not a year-round pool, so you can only really enjoy it during high season, summertime. Louisiana, no nakedness. Okay. It's amazing. Everybody wants to be on TV these days. Okay, so let's get back to the business at hand. What I wanted to show you, see, it isn't pretty, is it? Look at it. It's very cement-like. So the east side, until you actually get to Paris, it isn't that exciting. And I do have a video at night, but at night it doesn't show quite so well, you know. It's all, if you are surrounded by light and music, you might not notice quite so much, though it's going to take you just as long, if not longer, to get to where you want to be. And then finally you get out of here and you go finally to an area which is walkable and worthy of walking, which is approaching Paris. And still, this is all regarding the east side of the strip, because the west side is very different. And as I say, I've got another video on that. So there are lights, and this is nice because there is no real walkway. You've got people obviously always distributing, you know, adult entertainment. It's okay. This sometimes in some sections it can get really annoying in that you can barely walk through. Really, there's so many distributors of those little leaflets, so to speak. And this is the beautiful Paris resort. It's really nice in day and night. Very busy, but at least it gives you the impression that you're actually there, which I like. I like themed resorts. So here it's actually worth walking. You got the sugar factory here. It's going to get very busy, very loud, especially towards the evening or nighttime, the peak of nighttime. But again, as you can see, you know what I mean. It is actually walkable. It's relatively, you actually get some sort of satisfaction through walking here. And here in front of us, actually, there's the juice. I want to show it to you. I'm not showing you the other side. So beware, be prepared to the smog and the sound. It's not all fresh air, is it? Especially when it's hot. But as you can see, the Paris is beautiful, people walking up and down, this is a very nice little stretch. And of course, if you go on the west side, then it's magnificent. But I have showed you that already, and I'm going to upload new things as well. So watch this space. Now here we're approaching Bali's, which is a constant work in progress. Actually, believe it or not, down there is a car park. But I don't know what's going to be like in the end, because it can't be like this, since obviously clearly it's nothing. And if you're contemplating staying at Bali's, yes, it is in the middle of the strip, but you have to walk about a couple of miles to get to your hotel. Can you see it? Especially if you are at that tower at the back there, or the tower facing, so to speak, the strip. This tower is a little closer, but you still have to go far away to actually get to the entrance. So it's a long walk, though it is strategically placed. Now here, again, you've got this escalator here going all the way up, and then you cross to go to Bellagio, and then the escalator again. You have to come down, get it again there, can you see it? And then the escalator again, and the walkway to get to the Cromwell. And I do have a separate video of the Cromwell, the new Cromwell. It's very cute inside. It's got a great club, terrace club up there. But this side, this entrance, it's not that grand, is it? I mean, it's nothing, especially because it faces on this end this mess here, which is not pretty. And this is, before you start saying, oh, you moan too much, well, I'm gonna tell you like it is. I don't want you to expect, fairy tales when you have to be prepared for unpleasant walks on some stretches. And this one I can't show you here because we're driving, but basically you've got a narrow walk. There you go, I'll show it to you right there. A narrow walk like that, and in between you had those hedges. This is Flamingo, and you got this smell of vanilla, pretty much encompassing every single atom of air. And Margaritaville approaching here. So this is, again, not the prettiest of walks. It's very noisy. It gets noisier later on. I don't feel it's refreshing unless you seek the comfort of the casinos, which are very smoky, on this side at least. But I have tricks up my sleeves, and all you have to do is cross the road, and on strategic spots you can find amazing places to rest. And this is the entrance, Margaritaville, and this is the entrance to Link. And we do have a separate video on Link, which I have shown you already. And this is the famous quad. As you can see, the quad is nothing but some nondescript building on the strip side. Something that you couldn't tell. It looks like a futuristic building, but the entrances obviously are on the sides, just like that one. And we do have separate videos on the quad. They have done nice work on the sides, but again, have you actually noticed that you have to go all the way inside and all the way outside to keep walking along the strip? It sounds easy, it looks easy when you're driving, but it is incredibly challenging when you're walking, especially considering that sometimes in the evening in particular, it's packed with people, over the weekend especially, but also in midweek if you're coming, say, from May onwards. The only hope you have is during low season, and we have a page on our website, top-buffet.com, describing what low seasons are. So it takes a lot longer. I mean, if you go from Tropicana all the way to the end of the strip, or rather the end of the tourist strip, I mean, it can take you all day, because unless you're very fit and you just want to walk quickly, but you're going to bump into people, you're going to find broken escalators, broken lifts, and so, prepare, set some time, at least an afternoon. This is Harras, of course. It's like it was a long time ago. The entrance right on the strip. Not enough trees, not enough anything pretty. It's just the way it used to be. Personally, I like it when resorts put a lot of effort into making it look fantastic. A little bit like the entrance of Bellagio, the entrance of Mirage. And then here you've got, this kind of cheesy area. Casino Royale, which is now part of the Caesars Entertainment Group. But you can see it's always kind of work in progress, isn't it? And then when you've struggled through that, you have Venetian, which is beautiful. And you want to set aside some time to actually enjoy the outside and the inside. But I do have a separate video on Venetian, so we don't really need to spend too much time here. But again, yes, you can cross. At least here they make it doable. You can just walk along the strip and enjoy Venetian without having to struggle. And you have the occasional fountain and the occasional lagoon over there, which you may not be able to see from the car, to make it worthwhile. At least they've made an effort into making it really beautiful, and you don't really have to go inside, although you should probably, because it is so beautiful. Then here you've got Walgreens again, and a relatively doable walk. Here it's doable, but many sections, as I said to you already, you've got to go up escalators inside the buildings, through a walkway, and then down the escalator, and then doing it again, and then you reach the next resort. Now we have Palazzo, which is next to Venetian, of course, and again, at least again here they've made an effort. They've made into walking along the strip is nice. You've got a nice classic. Oh, and if you walk through, you've got nice music coming through, and you can see a couple of nice bars and restaurants. I don't know if you can see it at all, but it is lovely and slightly high end. This is again, these are huge buildings, which means that just walking across them is going to take some time. We are driving, and as you can see, we're not driving that slowly sometimes. And then after that, I don't know if you can see it already, but we are going to see yet another escalator and another walkway, which will take you to Wynn. Now it's okay, it's not too bad. The worst part is in the around area, in my opinion, in that section there, because you have to go quite inside to be able to get to the escalator that take you to the walkway. Here it's not too bad. And then of course you get to Wynn, which is beautiful, well worth looking at inside and outside. And at least, as you say, that's what I like. I like walking along the strip and seeing something beautiful rather than being blasting out with music through cement. But then again, that might be just me. Some of you might actually like it. Again, this is another Deuce stop. And if you want to know what's happening on the other side, we've got it on the other video. Soon we'll be seeing Encore and then the Beach Club. And then I want to show you the area which, some of you should take a look at if you are, if you are considering staying at places like Riviera and even Stratosphere, although Stratosphere, the entrance is on the other side. Circus is on the other side of our video, of the strip, so we'll have a different video that shows you that. The tickets to the Deuce and other buses are those ticket dispensers like that. They're everywhere, at every stop. So don't worry, you don't have to go God knows where to buy your tickets. So a little tip for some European cities, by the way, where you have to struggle to find the ticket. Okay, so we're approaching Encore. Beautiful, they're beautiful small waterfalls, They're not like Mirage, they're not like Bellagio, but they're still beautiful and it's very lush, and I like that. Now, as we're crossing, again, we're going to go through Encore and then the Beach Club that belongs to Encore, and of course Wynn. Huge property. So, these are long distances. If you're staying at Encore and you plan to walk to mid-strip, you got to set aside some time. This is still a nice walk, although the other side, I'm just giving you a little peek. There's nothing. and badly kept trees as well. At least they should water them from time to time, but they don't do that either. This is beautiful, a beautiful beach club, and it looks stunning from the outside. I don't mind walking along here, if only there was something out there, even if it were just nicely kept trees. But all you see is a phantom building and dying trees. Again, not a good thing to see. So it just feels a little better, it feels safer. It is safe everywhere, but it feels safer. Sometimes it's all about what you feel. Soon we're gonna end up the Win Uncle property, and we're gonna meet, not the nicest of stretches of the strip on our way to Riviera. But I want to show you, since we're stopping, what I'm talking about. That was planned to be a be-connected resort, but it was never built to completion, so it's been like this forever. And they were putting trees in some sections, and then they let them die, and now it just looks so sad, So sometimes you might be staying in a gorgeous resort like this, but you may not have the best views, so bear that in mind if you are a view freak. You see, like, I've learned to appreciate all sorts of views, as long as it don't make me look at a car park, some derelict buildings, some dead trees, or a wall, even worse. Then I'm happy. I'm happy to look at mountains. But those of you who really want to see the nice strip views, then even the best resorts sometimes they're not angled well enough to show you the best of the strip views. So bear all of that in mind, and ask us questions if you have any, especially through our top-buffet.com website. We have a contact page on that. Okay, so you're gonna walk across. At least here you don't have those annoying walkways and those annoying escalators. You can actually cross the road, and you get to see all of this, which per se might be interesting if it's the first time you come to the United States. It is all a bit strange to some of you, I'm sure. If you know the States, if you're from the States, it's nothing special to you. And little stores, and I used to buy cheap luggage there a long time ago, and I found out better places after that. You got the quintessential Walgreens, and believe you me, guys, you'll be happy that they're here, because sometimes you're thirsty and you want a decent bottle of water. And then you've got Ross Dress for Less, Denny's, of course. Dress for Less that are just pretty much everywhere now, which is kind of handy really these days when you break your dresses, or you pour salsa on your dresses, or red wine. And finally, through this not so pleasant walk, the pepper mill is here. Open 24 hours as far as I know. A bit of an odd area, but still, at least it's a place to sit down and eat at all times, at all hours. And this is the Riviera, so it's not the best of walk, is it? All the way from Wynn to Riviera. And the Riviera outside, what can I say? It's been like this for years. It used to have its charm at the time. There are many, many, many lights at night, so it looks a lot better. Vegas looks a lot better at night, doesn't it, guys? And there you go. You got fake naked women there. And, at least there's a little bit of life here, and yet the Deuce. And then after that, you will have Circus across, and another ghost building, which is really weird. It's been like this for a long time. Look at it, what a shame. It almost is finished, but not quite, obviously. And it's been like this for a long time. Another ghost building. And you walk here late at night. If you walk here late at night, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I'm not saying it's dangerous, but it feels dangerous. It's just nobody here, Feels like you walk. But then you cross the road, and you've got CVS. So a little bit of life, and they have attempted to make it nicer. They've put some palm trees in the middle. As you can see, it makes it look a lot nicer. And we are driving slowly towards Stratosphere. So do not even begin to think that you can walk from Stratosphere to Mid-Strip. There is no way you can do that. Distances are a lot bigger than it looks on a video, and then suddenly than it looks on a picture. And the walk is pretty miserable, isn't it? No fountain, no tree, nothing pretty, no bar for that matter. And then you've got some empty spaces like this, of course, because you have ghost buildings like that one. It's been like that for a long time. So bear all of that in mind. So if you are staying at Stratosphere, then you have a long way to walk, and you can't. I've done it. I used to do it all the time when I stayed at Stratosphere, but it's depressing, and you don't really want to spend your time doing that unless you just don't care and anything to you is interesting. If anything is interesting, then you might as well want to do it once. Here, you know, guys, they used to have the Sahara here, right? And they used to have a roller coaster, and it was fun enough, you know, but it's no longer. They're gonna build up a new one. It's gonna take some time. So when new buildings are operational, we'll show it. We will show them to you. But for now, it's a building site. And don't think that there will be a time when you find no buildings along the strip, because it's an ever-ending remodeling, an ever-ending construction. There's always a spot that will be remodeled, redone, destroyed, started from scratch, closed down, all sorts of things. But as you can see, SLS Las Vegas will open Labor Day weekend. You begin to see, well, a facade. You know, it's gonna be nice because when this is finished, it will render the walk from Stratosphere to Mid-Strip, if you even are brave enough to attempt the distance, a little bit more doable. But then again, even after this, you're gonna have to walk a relatively miserable stretch all the way to Stratosphere. You see, it's okay in the day. At night, sometimes it feels a little odd. This corner always feels a little odd to me at night. But I never felt like like it was a crime area. But it just feels odd. It doesn't look that great, does it? So here, and the Stratosphere right there, by the way, right there. Finally got here. It's gonna take you all day to walk here if you want to. And then you have the old motels, another couple of little chapels. Not the easiest to walk, is it, guys and girls? Lots of empty spaces. We just passed Stratosphere on the west side, and we're entering a relatively neutral but certainly not touristy area. And you've got Deuce in front of you again. Okay, so there are a couple of new buildings, new things, but again, this is not the hustle and bustle of the main strip, is it? San Luis Square. Not much going on right now. Rummel Motel. Newly remodeled, non-smoking rooms, no pets, color TV. There you go. And then you've got these places here, which are a little bit unique and worthy of at least taking a look, just because they've got that. For those coming from Europe, it looks interesting, you know. But I wouldn't say it's the main tourist area of Vegas. Would you say that? Look at that, you know. They're funny in a way. Chapel of the Flowers. And lots of empty spaces, derelict spaces. Oh, look, somebody's actually getting married. Look at that, eh? Little tiny little no-strip Vegas chapels just right next to 7-Eleven. Cabaret, open 24 hours. Can you see it? So you can mark that down, guys. But there are lots of other places. I can tell you, I've got a page on, gentlemen's clubs and so forth. I've got a couple of really good names for you. this section, you know, as you can see, walking late at night, I wouldn't recommend it. And you know, as I say, not because it's unsafe, it's just what it feels like, you know. It can be a bit isolated. So you might want to use the bus when you walk along. And where are we going now? Well, if you keep driving in a way, we're going to go to downtown Vegas. Some other little white chapels. Again, lots of little chapels for those who want to get wet in Vegas. Lots of little chapels, very budget oriented. If you want to get married and you don't care about budgets, then of course you can do that in the main resorts. They have beautiful wedding chapels, some more beautiful than others. Otherwise, there are so many little ones in the north part of the strip, which is after Stratosphere. So actually, you know, basing yourself in Stratosphere might be a good thing to do if you're looking for a chapel, you know, impromptu, so to speak. Adult Superstore right there, Monterey Motel. You gotta see these places, you know. And then you've got a Walgreens there, which funny enough, I have been there lots of times because it's cheaper than on the strip. So if you drive, it might be worth your while. Oh, I don't know. It was worth my while at the time. This is Charleston Boulevard, by the way. And lovely. Isn't it great that all these Walgreens and CVS's are open 24 hours? I don't know where you guys live, but where I come from, and actually where I live too, there's nothing open 24 hours, and it's supposed to be a big city. How's that? So I come here to actually remind myself of what a city should be like. So this is, you know, a way to go towards downtown Vegas along, you know, the Las Vegas Boulevard. And then, of course, every few meters, well, colorfully speaking, you have lots of lone places, you know, where you can, you know, sell your things and get some money. And that's kind of sad because you see so many of those places, and it kind of tells me that, you know, of course, gambling is a problem, isn't it? Especially for some people. It's a little bit unusual if you're watching this from Europe, you know, but if you're from the United States, it might not be quite so unusual for you. Again, it was a lot worse, you know, this stretch, and it's getting better. You know, the idea one day is to have basically the main area of the strip all beautifully connected to downtown Vegas, and, you know, so that you could technically or theoretically just walk along it, not that it's possible physically, but, and feel like you're having a great experience no matter where you are, that kind of thing, you know. And again, another bail bonds. You know that there are those programs on TV about Vegas bail bonds. No, scratch that. Hawaii bail bonds. Vegas pawn shops, that's what I meant. This is the one, the gold and silver pawn shop, as seen on TV, guys, as seen on TV. Some of you don't know, but there's a TV show set in that store. There you go, you see, advertised right there. Another little cute wedding chapel there, Graceland. This is called Graceland. And then another one here. You basically have your small for choices, though many of them look busy. And then again, you've got, you know, a semi-building construction going on here. You know, some empty, deserted lot with some construction and something derelict next to something new. And that's very much Vegas everywhere, so be prepared for that. There are historical places and historical landmarks, but there are beautiful new buildings being built quickly and springing up all the time. We come here, say, every 3 months, roughly speaking, and every time there are so many new things. That's the courthouse, by the way. I see, that's what I like. I like to walk along some paved area that actually looks beautiful. Somebody has actually taken the time to build. And yet another wedding chapel, cute little wedding chapel. They used to be, I mean, this is what Vegas used to look like years ago. All these little motels and wedding chapels in this section. And now, of course, you've got modern buildings being built as well. But that is still living next to old Vegas. And when you approach downtown Vegas, you will see an interesting mix of new buildings and old Vegas living together, coexisting. It's quite an interesting mix. We're actually, you know, in downtown Vegas, you know, Fremont Street is practically the next one. We're not approaching it from the side of Main Street Station, which is where my videos usually start from, Main Street and Plaza, but you know, might as well see a different point of view, a different entrance. And that's the United States Post Office. I love the United States Post Office, guys. You don't know how lucky you are, guys. Having lived in so many countries in the world, you know, with the exception of the United Kingdom Post Office, it's one of the best. Treated well. And as you can see, we're approaching downtown Vegas. Now, this is practically the end of Fremont Street because you've got El Cortez on one side and the Heart Attack Grill on the other. And here you've got East Fremont Street, as I showed you in my recently uploaded video where I was showing you the so-called famous light show. And here you got El Cortez, and we talk about El Cortez and how affordable it is on top-buffet.com. And it's nice because it's really close to the Deuce stop. The Deuce starts right there, which means you're gonna get first seat and you can choose the best seat and you can just sit back and enjoy the view all the way down to the strip. But set aside a long time because they have a lot of stops and it is kind of slow. This is the old El Cortez, but I did show you this on my last video with the tower, and then you've got the Cabana Towers just behind me, and this is the old El Cortez. So, as I was saying, downtown Vegas marries old and new, new and old, and it's interesting for that reason. I think if you have 4 or 5 days, at least one day, setting aside one day to just take a look at downtown Vegas, the Fremont Street, not necessarily Fremont Street experience, but Fremont Street per se, the experience, you can just look at it on my video. Some will hate me for saying that. It's worth coming to because it's so different, I'm sure, than different from where you come from. So you see, this is the view over Fremont Street from East Fremont. And remember, I showed you the shoe and the signs at night. And if not, take a look at our video channel. I'm sorry, I'm trying to shelter you from the sunset, but it was a very silly idea to do so. Okay, so that's the entrance. Welcome to the fabulous downtown Vegas. But by that I mean we're already downtown. That's the downtown for tourists with the Heart Attack Grill on one side, but I'll tell you all about that on my dedicated video, so check that one out. I have a very recent one showing you the light show as well, but lots of street performers as well, which you probably want to take a look at. And as you can see, we're turning again, and in front of you, you see Stratosphere again. So we would just be all the way back to the strip, all the way to South Strip and so forth. I'm not doing the other side. I'm thinking about it because of the sun, and I would be really filming against the sun, sunset, you know, on the west, and I don't think it would really show very well. So I might wait actually to do it later on. I'll do it at night. So I apologize for that, but it's just a matter of going to the next video of ours. Just check our video list, it's there. And I might actually even put a link under this video frame. There's a link both to the website where I actually talk about things in details and you can ask us questions, but also links to the next videos. And if you don't find them, do not hesitate to ask. We check your comments. I check personally your comments as often as I can, and sometimes every day, but sometimes I cannot because I'm on the road, okay? Well, so check our next video. Hopefully you've had an idea of the east side of the strip. We do have sections on top-buffet.com where we talk about the various resorts according to location and the pros and cons, and also the pros and cons of the inside of those resorts and what kind of resorts are for you, the kind of resorts that you want, what kind of amenities, what kind of crowds you want to mingle with. So hopefully I cover all of that on top-buffet.com. I'm just going to show you this other side very quickly, the beginning of the west side of the strip, you know, way before, you know, we go to any main strip section. That's the pawn shop that I was telling you about. I already showed it to you, but that's from, you know, the other side, a different angle to it. But as you can see, we are really against the sun, but really ideally not really for the video. And you know, we're driving towards, of course, the famous Stratosphere. Stratosphere is a really nice landmark. I really love it. It's so tall, and if you want to really see the whole of Vegas, you've got to go to the tower. There is no going around it. Yes, they have built the link now, and you can do the link, but Stratosphere really goes to unbelievable heights, and you can also enjoy downtown from that. So you might want to do both of them. You know, I wouldn't necessarily do one without the other, but definitely you have to do the Stratosphere Tower. I know that the location is not ideal, but if you drive, it's nothing, and if you come by Deuce, or rather the Strip and Downtown Express, it stops at Stratosphere like it stops in Mandalay Bay, so you know you can do them, and of course in the middle of the strip, so you can do all the main strip areas using the express bus, and you have to buy the tickets ahead of time, and we talk about that on top-buffet.com. And some of you will wonder, what's just outside? Well, I do have a video showing you just the area around Stratosphere. This is not quite just outside Stratosphere. This is a little bit before, as you saw. But it's funny because Vegas changes you completely the moment you leave the main tourist areas. Although, to be fair, things are changing, and there are things happening and areas being developed so that you don't feel you are in the middle of the desert the moment you step out of the tourist areas. So in some sections, especially next to some off-strip resorts that are rather nice and cheap, and we talk about those on top-buffet.com, but there are actually some nice condominiums, really nice, with lots of trees, kind of higher end, pleasant all around, you know, in every aspect. And some of you may consider staying in one of those rather than staying at resorts. But you know, as I say, you necessarily don't want to walk around along these streets or this particular area in the middle of the night, you know. You may not necessarily want to do that. So, you know, don't get lost. But then nobody does. I never find a lost tourist in these particular streets. So you're all doing the right thing. And we do have a section on safety in Vegas, especially there have been questions raised about downtown Vegas lately. Well, many of you have asked that question. And we've written a new page on downtown Vegas and safety and what's going on and what happened recently, and we are talking about 2014 on top-buffet.com. So just go through the menu and just click on the various titles, and you'll read all the information and hopefully you need. As you can see, we're against the sun, and that's why I did not do the west side of the strip, but my next video will show you that. See you on top-buffet.com, guys. Bye bye.